go. Hello, hello, parents. Let's see here. One second. All right, that's a little better. Let's see if I can get some light here. How are you all this Monday? It's Monday. How are you today? How are you? How are you? Come in. Say good afternoon. To me, it is Monday. It's time for master classes. I'm trying to get some extra lighting, but let's see. I look like it's frozen. Okay. Let me know. Can you all hear me? Can you see me? Let me know. It's Monday. I've heard that many students have gotten progress reports. So let me know, has your child got theirs? Let me know what's on it. I would love to know that. What's on it? 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 Let me know what's on your child's progress report. How did you feel about it? How did they do? Any improvements that needs to be made with your grades K through 5 child? Let me know. That's what I'm here for. To help you. You literally have an advocate, a coach to help you, which is an extreme blessing um, for many reasons. One, because I've been where you are, right? I've been where your child is, I should say. And so I know what it's like to be a child to struggle academically, but then I also know what it's like to achieve academically, right? I know that it can be a challenge, raising a child just in general sometimes. But then when they're not doing well academically, I know that can be um, a challenge because that's like their kind of only job right now, right? Is to achieve academically. So when it's not happening, um, it could be very frustrating. But yeah. So let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know if they're not doing well, and we'll go from there, right? Which I believe if most of you are here, you desire that help. So just let me know exactly what's going on. For those of you who do, you might be tuning in for the very first time. My name is Portia Williams, also known as the Student Success Coach. And what I do is I help grades K through 5 parents confidently speak out. That's the first thing. Confidently speak out. I help them confidently confidently speak up, right? So that's number one. I help them confidently speak up, right? Really help them know that they have someone here for them, right? And so the best thing to do is really speak up confidently, right? And so I help grades K through 5 parents confidently speak up on their child's behalf without being seen as the angry parent, right? Because I know sometimes it can be frustrating when your child isn't achieving academically. It makes you want to go to the school and act up, right? But I help those parents without being seen as the angry parent so that they can help their child achieve academic success. And so that's my number one goal. That is my number one goal, to help your child achieve academically. And I do that here by really teaching you how to take charge of your child's academic success. And so there's a way to do that that's going to get you benefit, that's going to get you results, that's not going to get you to run around, right, working for the school system. If you don't know, I'm a former educator, so I literally used to work for the school system, right? I've been a teacher, I've been a mentor, service learning provider, I've been a teacher's assistant, I've been a student aide. And so I've served in and around instruction and support when it comes to grades K through 5 students. I actually have serviced all the way up into middle school, top of my brain that I'm thinking about. I know for a fact middle school, serving in high school, I just really didn't, the kids half were taller than me, so that's the number one problem. It's just not my greatest love. But I have serviced around high school, literally I'm working with some high school students now, and so, but it's not in the school system. But primarily in the school system, I work with grades K through 8, but my love is grades K through 5. So that's why I come here and I really help you all, right? Because also, as with an educator background, I know what it's like to see students fail, and I know what it's like to work with parents with students who are failing. So it's a great benefit to be able to just really work with you and service you. All right. And so that's a little bit about who I am and what I do, and how I believe that you should really take advantage of this school. Any questions before we get started with today's masterclass? And we shouldn't be long. I'm kind of considering if we're going to have class next week as well. I know that will be the day after Christmas. I really don't mind, right? I don't mind. And I'll say it again. I don't mind. But I will see, right? I will see by Wednesday. I'll know by Wednesday, I believe, for sure. And I'll let you all know for sure by Christmas Day, I think, if we're going to have class or not. But yeah, just keep your eyes open to the school. That way you can get any updates. All right. So I really want to talk about this today. If you haven't seen today's title, this masterclass is entitled "Take a Guess." It's entitled "Take a Guess." So the reason that I named this masterclass "Take a Guess" because I really was a student who struggled academically, and one of the issues that I had academically was that when I didn't know like an answer to like a problem, I would guess. Right? I would really guess. Sometimes just like pull things out of thin air and take a guess. But that just, it happened for a very long time. I was a student that when I didn't know the answers to something, I would just guess. And that kind of sounds like, that's not kind of bad, right? But the truth is, I did this often, right? I could see 1 or 2 times, right? As an educator, we encourage students to take a guess, right? Try your best, take a guess, right? But doing that often isn't good. It just isn't. It isn't good for several reasons, and I'm going to explain to you a few reasons why it wasn't good for me. One of the reasons was I would take a guess no matter what the assignment was. So if it was a test, it was a quiz, a pop quiz, classwork, I was going to take a guess. Like I was going to guess when I didn't know the answer. For those of you who don't know a little bit about my background, I tried to share as much as I could before we started, but I did struggle academically. I had many challenges academically. And so when I said I was constantly taking a guess at my work, it was often because I just didn't know the answers to, I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know how to do what was being asked of me. And so if I didn't know the answers, I would bubble in like whatever I want. So let's say if it was like a multiple choice test, or back then we used to have like what do you call it? I forget the name of them, but it was like a grid almost, and it had like A, B, C, D across of it, right? And then we would have to bubble in our answers on there. So it was kind of more like a standardized kind of test form, if you will. Maybe I'll find one and put it in the group for you all to see exactly what I'm talking about, because I think that will help. But just remind me if I don't do it today. Just remind me, like, hey, I want to see what you're talking about with that bubbling in. But I would literally bubble in. Let me see if I can find one real quick while I'm here. Let's see. Answer key. It was kind of like an answer key, if you will. Let's see. Literally, they were something like this. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but something like this. Y'all forgive my phone. It is cracked up. Yes, it is. But it would be something like this, right? Literally, something like this. Let me move this out the way. So you see. But it would be something like this, right? So what I would do is I would take, like I would guess, and I would literally make designs out of this. Like I would literally sit in class and make designs on this. Like I would do maybe like a zigzag going down or make a diamond if I could, right? I would just get stupid with it and just start making designs, right? Like just making designs. Or like I just would just do whatever I could to just like kill time. I don't know. But I would. It was bad. And the only thing I think I wouldn't do is just go all the way down, like all the way down A, all the way down B. I wouldn't do that. But I would make like a design on sheets like this. And so I would literally bubble in anything, literally making designs and going down this multiple choice. What was it called? What did they call it? An answer key generator. No. Yeah, an answer key. Yeah, I would literally go down, and then back then we had kind of had them too, where they were like green, and so I would just go for it and really make designs going down their multiple choice test. And so, if I didn't have a multiple choice test, I would fill in the blanks, right? So if it was a worksheet, honey, I'm gonna show y'all worksheet answer. Let's see. Nope. Worksheet, fill in the blank. Let's say fill in the blank. If it was a fill in the blank like worksheet, and I think that's more like I think that's more kind of self-explanatory. But yeah. So if it was something like this without the answers, something more like this. Yeah, I could. Now, this isn't a good description, but if it was something like this, literally, I'll write anything in there, and it would be off, so off. And so I had got to the point where I just started, especially as I began to advance. And so we used to have something like BCRs and ECRs, brief constructive responses, and then like. I don't know what the other one was for, what ECR meant. I don't even remember. Let me see. Brief, constructive responses. Yeah. It would be something like this, right? I'm just full of examples today. But if it was like a brief, constructive response paper, I would just type anything. Like if we had to type it or if we had to write it, I would just write anything. And it was really bad because I knew when I got it back, my teachers would be like, Portia, what was that about? Like what, we couldn't follow you. Let me see, get it positioned right. Oh, come on. Y'all see that? It kind of has like a prompt and then you write, you write over there. So that was kind of like my issues, right, with guessing, because even when it was time to do like a BCR and really express what I had learned, I would write anything. And often my teacher's like, Portia, we couldn't even follow you. We couldn't follow what you were trying to say. And I knew when I got those answers back, they was going to be wrong. So it was no shock. But I think it's funny because I kind of talked about this, like a little bit, but if I did get the answers wrong, and I couldn't come up with anything else, right? Anything else to like bubble in or anything else to circle, I would really either leave my paper blank or not turn it in. And I talked about not turning in work, I think last week. So if you missed that master class and your child isn't turning in work, you're missing something great, because I talked a lot about how you can help your child, but most importantly, I was talking about the issues that come up with that. And so, me not turning in my work, of course, you're not gonna get the grade. But I think I talked about that last week, if I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah, turning in late work or not turning in at all. I think I've been talking about that the past few weeks. But so just go back in the archive and check it out. But yeah, one of the main things that I think was a big issue, right, was when if I didn't know, the worst that I could do is just not do the work, or I would just not turn it in. So I would either leave it blank or not turn it in. And that was a big issue too, because it left me really feeling defeated. It left me feeling defeated a lot, right? It really left me feeling defeated. Like I didn't have anything else to offer, kind of, but to write what I could. And so, or guessing it, right? And so, give me 1 second. Let me clear this, and then I'm going to go ahead and explain to you what can help, what can really, really help your child academically. But again, it was a big challenge for me. And so this is what I want to share with you. I believe what really helped me best, right? What really helped me stop guessing, right? Really stop guessing. And let me see. This thing keeps popping up. And then the lighting is terrible. So what really helped me stop guessing, right? When I didn't know the answers, to a problem, right? What really helped me was learning what my challenge was with that. Like what my challenge was with not getting the answers. And I believe that's going to be the best thing for you as a grades K through 5 parent. If your child is just not getting the answers right, and then their best benefit is to guess so that they are at least trying to do the work, right? I encourage you to really examine what the challenge is that is causing them not to know the answers, not to know what it is that they're working on. That's key, okay? And so that's number one. And when you do that, right, it comes with so many benefits. It comes with so many benefits, right? One of them is, I know for me, one of the greatest things that I saw was when I learned what my challenge was with not getting the answers right, and then guessing. I knew what I needed to do in order. I learned what I needed to do in order to get answers right. So I had to learn. The challenge actually taught me how to get the answers right. The challenge taught me how to get it right. So that's number one. That having that challenge taught me what I needed to do in order to get it right. So in essence, what I needed to work on. Okay, so that's the first thing. One of the other things that I thought was really important for me to highlight, I know for me, it built my confidence, right? It built my confidence in my own answers. So when I learned what my challenge was, I was able to be more confident in, choosing the right answer when I knew what that challenge was. Another thing that I know that was a really good blessing is I became more aware of what the real challenge was that I had. And when you know what's wrong, you can work on it. So that's, I think, is super important. Let me say this. I was aware of what the academic challenge was that I had. And I wrote this down here, that would make me quit and guess. So in essence, what frustrated me and made it hard for me to understand the work. So once I figured out what the challenge was, I knew what was frustrating me. I knew what made it hard for me to, what made it hard for me to just get it and understand. And then I think one of the last things that was important was I was able to define my strengths, right, and really get more work done academically. And so I realized that I wasn't that bad. Like, even though I was struggling at a certain point and I wasn't achieving, I wasn't that bad. There were some good things about me. And the truth is, there's some good things about you too. And excuse me, there's some good things about your child too. Now, I do know this, right? It can be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating. I remember growing up as well, right? And just not knowing. I would even guess during homework. Like, I would guess during homework. Yeah, I would guess doing homework. And that was very frustrating for my parents, because it's like, why are you guessing? Like, just, why are you guessing? And the truth was, I was guessing because I didn't know what I was doing. And so it could be very frustrating for parents when your child it feels like they're guessing, right? So let's say they're doing math and you're like, okay, what's the answer? And they're like coming up with everything else but the answer. Well, the truth is, often it's because they really don't know. They really, really don't know what's right. They don't know. They don't know they don't know what's right, right? And then they don't know how to get the answer. And so I think that's very important. That's very important as well for you all to remember that they're not just pulling this out of thin air. They're not making this up, right? That they don't know the answers. That they're really struggling. I could tell you, my parents would be so frustrated. And I've gotten behind whoopings because I was guessing. I've gotten, had to go to bed, right? Because I was just doing too much and have to wake up early in the morning to finish my homework at 5 o'clock in the morning because I spent most of the night guessing and not choosing the right answer. And it was either guess, right, and get it wrong, because my parents weren't going to let me turn it in like that, right? Or I'm just going to sit there and get it right, right? I'm just sit there and get it right, because they weren't going to give me the answer unless they got extremely frustrated and they couldn't take it no more. And that wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to give me the answer. But the truth was, I was guessing. Even with my homework with my parents, I was guessing. I was literally sitting at home guessing with my parents at home. And the reason I was guessing was because I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do it. And so that's something that I want you all to think about when it comes to your child, right? And so, I could share with you my experience, right? And the truth is, when I didn't know the answers to my work in class, I would guess. When I didn't know, I would guess, right? And I would guess a lot, often, consistently. I would guess on quiz, tests, pop quiz, classwork. Told you I guessed on homework. And when I didn't know the answer, I would bubble in anything on that sheet that I showed you, right? That bubble in sheet. I would fill in anything and literally just make designs on a multiple choice test if we had like the bubble in. And if we didn't, I would circle anything or write anything and fill in the blank worksheets. I write whatever I want. And if they don't have a key at the top, I'm going in. But if they had a key, I could get closer to the right answer because I had a key. But other than that, I would just write whatever. And even when it came to me having to write out, express myself, write out, a BCR, brief constructive response, or just really express what it was that I learned, more critical thinking. By the time my teachers got to the end, they were like, we lost you. I'm like, yeah, because I was lost too, because I don't even know what we're talking about here, And so what I did learn out, it often made me feel defeated, and really defeated to the point where I would just leave stuff blank. You just get tired of like, you run out of options guessing when you don't know what's going on too. That's number 3. I'll just put that out there. But it can make you feel defeated, or you just stop turning in work because you just don't know what's going on. And we see that often with children academically, because they don't know what's going on, they just give up. And so, one of the best things that did help me, right, stop guessing, right, and really have, the answers or get an idea of the answers was when I realized what the challenge was, right? Really learning what my challenge was that was keeping me from getting answers right. And so that's what really, really helped me. And if your child is a grades K-5 child and you're seeing them taking a guess on their work and they're at the point where they're bubbling in whatever and they're leaving, work blank, or they're not turning it at all, you should dig deep into that challenge. Help your child figure out what that challenge is. Help them figure out what that challenge is, what's causing them to not get those answers right, so they can stop guessing. And I'm telling you, if you do that, I just believe that for your child academically, they'll know what they need to do in order to get the answers right. Right? They'll know what they need to work on. What they need to work on in order to get the answers right. They'll be clear. They'll kind of have like a guide, of what's stopping them from being successful, what they need to do, right? What's stopping them to what they need to do. They'll kind of have a guide if you teach them, that challenge. And if you want help, I'm here, right? This is what I do, is what I love to do. And so it's not so much that I can do while we're here, because this is like me sharing with you my expertise. But when it comes to you academically, right, and you and I getting on the phone and talking about your child, I can dig deep to see what it is I could do to help you. And so if you want that help, if you want me to help you dig deep into your child's challenge, what's causing them to guess, what's causing them to leave work blank, what's causing them to not to turn in work, well, I'm here to help you. I'll put the link in the comment section below, how you can reach out to me, right? How you can reach out to me. I do have a session available tonight at 8 o'clock. So if you're on my end, Eastern Standard Time, I have a session for you at 8 a.m. Not 8 a.m., 8 p.m. tonight. If you want it, I'm open. I'm willing to take a nap and get up and work with you, so that I can help you. I have one tonight. That's my only available session for this week. And so please, 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 if you want it, you can have it. If you have to move some things around to make sure that you're helping your child achieve academically, then, if that's important to you, please do it. Until we chat again, thank you so much for your time. And I'll be active in the group this week and let you know we're going to have class next week. Until then, I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And if you're catching a replay, let me know.